to the other side of the semifinals. So
yeah,
now he doesn't have to worry about Glitchtastic. He does have to worry about Austin Michael, it looks like, so far. So still another really difficult opponent to actually go up against. But bringing Glitchtastic to the other side is going to help him out a lot to try and secure one of those top 5 spots. And the semifinals already straightened up to be something crazy because some 46 points from Geronimo, I think, is maybe the highest he's ever had out of a qualifier.
Right.
So a really impressive qualifier from him. And, you know, the likes of Mario Party King coming out of kind of nowhere. Kehun with 31 points, still a really good spot. Spooky, a really surprising finish as well. Had some really decent results in his group. And then Chino, who we already know is a really solid player, getting another solid placement at 40 points is really going to solidify a good spot for him.
I'm really excited to see how these last 3 groups are going to be racing. Again, we have seen some amazing racing so far, and this is barely the start of it. And group number 4 will be starting here very, very shortly with the likes of Kyret, Marshall, and then last place for life, who is no stranger to first place, which is very ironic for the name, but it's also a very humble name as well. But we also have Big Fish, Twilight, Yami Mo, Mega J Keezy, Timothy, Luca, and Knives, who have that ability to really pull an upset right now. Gotta say, this is a very exciting one to watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough group again. Obviously, the ranked players coming out of this are going to be Kyret, Marshall, Trupa, and last place for life. And we'll see if they're going to be able to kind of hold on to those placements. Of course, we're seeing Knives in this group. We saw previously as well. Jay Keezy, though, doing an extremely, extremely good job from last week, is going to try and push forward into this one. And we'll see if he's going to be able to hold on to a top spot here in this group. It's going to be tough, of course, but we'll see. He just needs to probably get, like we saw, that 26, 27 point mark seems to be the absolute cutoff for that group,
right,
or for the semifinals at least. So we'll see if he can actually get over that. Just needs, a couple, consistent spots, whether it's in second, third, or fourth place, and he's definitely has showcased he's been able to do it.
Absolutely, and we haven't seen any raging from Kyret in quite a while. I think he's really leveled out and said to himself, you know what, this is my domain, this is my arena. I'm going to take preliminary number 4 as it's going to be coming up here right now, and I'm going to own it. I don't have to worry about it, but I'm not going to lie, I kind of love it when we see him rage at the screen because he's passionate. He really is passionate, and I think it's rubbing off on Jay Keezy. We've seen a lot of Jay Keezy just like really pressing out that personality that we normally haven't seen in prior weeks.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. Of course, I'm kind of sad that Kyret's not as emotional as he used to be, but of course we'll see.
I think Zovko kind of stole it at that
point. Yeah, you're right,
point.
though. Yeah, because he ended up just screaming at the monitor. And, that's what Mario Kart really does to you sometimes. It really hits you in the feels, and especially when you're constantly getting hit by whatever it might be. You see Knives here on your screen holding on to the hopefully good luck charm there in the Toad plushie. And, a creepy fact is that his Toad's a mushroom.
I was just
I had a feeling
because
you just went like this, and I was like, I had a feeling.
And I want to ask the arena about this right now. Do you think that Toad's head is a hat or not? Is it actually? Because if you look at the cartoon, he's able to take it off, but then Nintendo said it's not a hat. So what do you think? Yes or no?
Well, I don't feel like it's if he's a mushroom, like legitimately a mushroom,
like
it's not a hat,
right?
then
it
would make sense if it's just.
But in the cartoon, it actually happens. In the Super Mario cartoon show from the early 90s, it actually came off, and it's the scariest thing you could ever see.
I feel like you ended up showing me a picture of that, and I was like terrified. I was like, I'm never going to play Toad in anything ever again because it's just weird.
It's about as much of a nightmare as the new CEO being named Bowser.
That's true. That is funny, though. It's a dank meme, as the kids say.
That is 100%. That's a weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. But we're going to see this Group 4, of course, getting started shortly after they get their loadouts and everything ready. See exactly what the first map is going to be for them, and you're going to see the first race is actually going into full effect here. And it's going to be one of the more fun races, I feel like, for a lot of our racers. They do very much enjoy this map. They're going to start going forward here. You're going to see, I don't know if item smuggling or not, but, this player here dropping back down to the 10th place is going to try and get some good items here to push forward into one of the top spots. Is going to be Luca, is going to try and push forward here. Not using any of the drifting ability, is going to slow him down a lot. Definitely not going to be able to get some of these corners as quickly as he'd like, but he's still going to try and make himself a way back into the top half of the group.
I'm going to assume it was likely just a miss button because I wasn't thinking it was going to be any type of item smuggling. And you're going to look at Twilight right now, ended up falling off the map. Marshall going to be taking away your second place position, and he's going to hold on to that glide. Excuse me. I was going to say drift and glide at the same time. I think it's just because I was so excited to see the racing that was going on. Kyret going to be your first place player. This is likely why you're not going to see any type of raging is because he doesn't have anything to rage about. He's already sitting in first. He's not getting hit by any items. He is going to try and do that manipulation. did not work. He is going to be hit and falling off. There's the rage that we love to see. And last place for life, going to be stealing away that first place position. He's going to get hit by the Piranha Plant. It is absolute chaos here at Music Park right now.
He did luckily hit the person behind him with the red shell he was using defensively, but he still drops down here. Jake Kesey actually coming out of nowhere, but will take that turn too wide and slows him back all the way to 5th place. That turn is going to be very, very rough for him. It's those small mistakes that really can cost you the entire group, if anything. So we'll see if he's able to make a quick recovery, as we see last race for life, recovering back in the first place spot. No coins though, so he's not going to have that speed boost. He is going to be able to get past that, I don't know exactly what that's called, but he's able to get past it. He gets himself 4 coins as well and has a horn to hold on to the first place spot. Doesn't look like he connected there with the player behind him. He is going to have to worry about a red shell. It looks like connecting with the opponent, not him. So he is going to unfortunately drop down. Has to be careful on the turn and barely gets himself back onto the race, but still not a great spot for him to be in. Huge recovery there by last place for life. And now Kyret going to be doing the manipulation. Looks like it's going to work this time. He is sitting in second, and he does an unfortunate position of getting hit by the lightning, but he did manipulate that blue shell very well, was able to recover, now sitting in first place, but right now it is anybody's position. He is going to hold on to that sound box. He is going to use it, but he doesn't use it fast enough, and he is going to fall down into 3rd place as we lead halfway through Music Park. And last place for life now going to extend his lead. But this is interesting. We're finding a lot of minor mistakes adding up by a lot of our veteran players. Not sure if they just haven't practiced or anything, but last place for life looks like he's going to be able to take away that first place spot. Yeah, that was a very interesting race. Definitely a lot of mistakes, though, coming out from a lot of the players that we normally don't see, like Jake Kesey taking a turn too wide and actually probably end up throwing his chances away there for first. Last place for life, actually getting back into the fray from a couple of mistakes from himself as well. Kyret, of course, not using the horn effectively enough to stop the red shell, which is unfortunate. Lost his first place because of it. So just a very weird race to start off this group. I feel like it'll kind of all even out and equal out to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th races. So going forward, still not a bad finish, though. Kyret looks like he still got 2nd. Last place for life, though, with that first place finishes in a really good spot.
Absolutely. And this is a very interesting player pack. And again, they are talking to each other, psyching themselves out, waiting for the next race to come to life. And I got to say, I am very shocked about the fact that the mistakes seemed almost natural. Like they were meant to happen at that point. They're normally the type of mistakes that we would not see from these veteran players at all. I really think maybe it's just the map or maybe it's just a loadout, but last place for life ended up almost falling off. Kyret did fall off, and these are just mistakes you cannot afford to make right now, especially in the first race where that's going to give your momentum for the rest of them. Yeah, and of course you saw Twilight there on your screen. It was mentioning she needs a drink, and this is the only place where you can drink and drive, so make sure you do it safely here while you're playing Mario Kart. Of course, we have a bar here at the HyperX eSports Arena. You can use everything. We have good food and drinks, so make sure to check those out. Speak of the devil, we have not talked about the return of Guinness Guy. We have no confirmation of that. He said he was going to be back in February. It's February. We haven't seen him. Oh, that makes me sad, actually. I totally forgot. I was like, wait, it's February. I was like, wait, it's like the end of February already as we go into this second race here of the Group 4. And the RC and Marshall looks like holding onto the charge here with the Koopa Troopa on your screen. And going into this, Twilight is going to try and get herself into a better spot. It does have those rather large wheels, so I'm probably going to slow her down a little bit, but a lot better overall for traction and handling. You see the leaderboard coming up on the left-hand side. Last place for life did get that first place finish, kind of surprisingly after a decent bit of mistakes, but obviously enough to recover going into this one. Jake Kesey with a nice spot, and Marshall getting 4th. A very close top 4, I feel like, will definitely mix up a lot, because we saw how much it mixed up alone in that race. I feel like the entirety of those standings will mix up a lot. And for the first time tonight, we did see Twilight actually utilizing that drift maneuver. Didn't get any drift out of it, but she did actually tap the button, so we did see her character hop in the air for a very short amount of time. We'll see if she'll be able to put 2 and 2 together and see if she'll be able to make a drift. And right now, Yami Mo currently sitting in 5th place, not doing a bad job. Did get bounced away with the draft, and now you are going to see her fall all the way down into 8th place automatically. That is a huge disadvantage to be able to happen. And now Marshall trying to gun for position. He's sitting in 5th place right now, battling for 4th. And right now, we're going to look at another player here in just a second. But right now, Marshall trying to fight and keep himself alive. Throws the red shell to keep himself going. And now Mega Jake Kesey recovering into 2nd place specifically. And now Mega Jake Kesey trying to battle for position. He's got a hard distance to try and get up if he's going to try and get away and get that first place. Yeah, he's currently holding on, but not by a large margin. Kyret's going to be holding on to this first place overall. Has the 10 coins as well, so he has that speed boost. He's going to be able to take some of these shortcuts. Even though he's already in an insane lead, he's still going to play the more aggressive route. Make sure he really holds on to it as he goes into one of the final turns here of this last lap. And with such an advantage, Kyret's in a really impressive spot here.
by nearly probably like 10 seconds or so away from second place in a great spot. That blue shell is going to come in, and it's going to be at the end of this one, but it doesn't look like it's going to affect him too much. He is already going to be able to cross that finish line, so that blue shell not going to do too much, as he already did take that first place away. Now bringing him up overall to first place, I believe, as we see last place for life finishing in third.
This is a very confident Kyret that we've normally needed to see from prior weeks. No raging, just all confidence, ready to go. Absolute precision racing. And I gotta, by the way, talk about the shortcuts real quick. There are some shortcuts in maps that require very little effort to grab, and then there are the ones that are some, like in this map, where you really have to line up your drift because you have to go into a drift in order to get them. And he did a very great job of being very consistent. We're looking at some of the amazing people here in the arena enjoying some of those beverages, by the way. You do see Precious getting some of that fuel ready to go by eating some of that amazing food. Looks like Twilight has a fan base right now. Just saying.
Yeah, definitely trying to cheer her on. Of course, she's currently sitting tied for last, but that doesn't mean anything can't happen in the next two races. So we'll see. It definitely can happen. We'll see if she's able to get there, of course. We did see Sir 9, who's going to be racing in the last group of tonight, so we'll see him later on as he tries to race through this one. We do see Big Fisher on your screen right now, who's currently sitting pretty far down on the leaderboard, but it's not like he's a bad player or anything. He just got kind of manipulated when Kyret did get that blue shell manipulation onto him. He did get kind of messed up there, and it seems like he dropped back a little bit in that second race as well. So it'd be nice to see as he goes forward here. But they're going to be going into Neo Bowser City. Neo Bowser. I was like,
there you go.
I was trying to remember the three words in conjunction there. But Neo Bowser City is going to be this third race, of course. And for standing-wise, it looks like Kyret leading the charge by 2 points, and Jay Kesey actually in third. Really nicely done for those top three, last place for life in second. But a lot of these players need to have a good race and a good finish here in order to hopefully get themselves into the semifinals.
It can definitely happen. And right now, another name to look out for is Knives. Knives moving her way up into the leaderboard, currently sitting in 5th place. And I'm going to guess that Toad plushie really giving her some of that mojo that she needs to make those positions happen. Speaking of positions, we're looking at Marshall currently sitting in 2nd place. Did knock out the red shell. Now going to use a green shell for defensive options. He might even throw it forward if he has a very confident throw, but he might even throw it back because he's likely just going to get rid of it when he finds another double box option available. But he's going to hold on to it in the meantime. If he gets a good solid red shell, we're likely going to see him get rid of it at this point and use that red shell offensively. If he knows that the player in front of him, which I believe might be Kai Red, is going to have nothing to defend himself, and Marshall going to take the offensive instead of defensive.
Yeah, and we're going to see how that's going to pay off for him, of course, as last place for life is very, very close to him overall in the standings as well as in this race. Of course, this is the second lap and going towards the end of it. There is going to be a blue shell that is going to come out. That green shell, nicely used from Marshall, is going to connect on the last place for life behind him. You're seeing a bomb in the hands of Marshall as well as a nice ultra drift. The blue shell will finally come and connect with Kyret, though, as he takes that jump. So he is going to slow down a lot, and it gives the potential for Marshall to actually try and come back and combat that first place finish. But still a decent bit away from the likes of Kyret is going to be Marshall. Last place for life, even farther away from the top three. This red shell is going to take away the only defensive item Kyret does have, though, and that red shell is going to drop him back, giving Marshall the hopeful chance to take first place overall in this.
And that's exactly what is possible right now. We do see these two players fighting for position as they do lead into the final turns here with lap number 3, and the lightning does come out. That's going to be a huge factor into how they're going to be placing. Right now, there's nothing but racing ahead of them, and Mega J Kesey right now sitting in 4th place. He's going to try and make it into the final turn, see if he's going to find a way to get to last place for life. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. These are going to be your 4 placers, and with that being said, Mega J Kesey just going to take 4th place at the very end.
Yeah, really solid double item box there coming out in 4th place, getting that triple mushroom as well as the star at the end of that race. So didn't really need it. Obviously, only the top 3 already finished, so he didn't have to worry about that. But Kyret getting himself another first place, Marshall being closely behind there in 2nd, and it looked like last place for life was able to solidify himself a 3rd place. So still the top 4, the general 4 we are used to seeing, but we'll see how the points overall stand up after this. Kyret seems to be extending his lead even more, 6 points ahead from the likes of 2nd place, which is last place for life. And we'll see how this is going to pan out, because this is going to be the last race of this group. Kyret, though, with 34 points, already solidified into the rest of the showing here. But if he actually does get this 12 point, the last place, or the first place finish in this last race, he could probably change up the likes of Geronimo and Glitchtastic in their current groups, respectively, considering they're both at 46 points as well.
And looking, by the way, at the leaderboard, Knives has 16 points. This could be a huge thing for her because right now, 16 points is the lowest that we have for the semifinals, which means anything that she gets now will put her even in an even better position, for the semifinals. And we're looking over at Bear, who's currently looking at the positions of all the other players, psyching them all out, saying, I am the victor, I am the Bowser, riding the teddy bear cart, and we're going to find out whether or not that's going to be a good thing for him. He always runs that loadout. We might see something new from him, but let's go ahead and run into the final race here for group number 4. Let's look at Knives, currently sitting in 5th place. She's been doing very well. I'm going to say it's probably just edging out, but currently sitting in 3rd against all of our ranked players, and now 5th in the leaderboard with Kai Red, last place for life, Jay Keezy, Marshall Trupa, and Knives currently sitting in your top 5.
Yeah, and we're going to see how Knives is going to be able to push out into this race. Marshall seems to be holding on to the lead as of right now so far into this last race here of obviously race 4 out of 4 for preliminary number 4. So a lot of forwards coming out. As we see it, Knives is barely getting out around that corner, but still will be stopped by the Luigi in front of her, and it doesn't get an item box there as well. Big Fish is going to take that away from her and also take her place there in 4th place. But some karma does come back in return for him as he gets hit by the green shell. So he will drop back a 5th place spot there. But there already is a quick blue shell. But one of the faster blue shells we've seen at the right at the beginning of lap number 2 is going to go on to Marshall here. It's going to slow him down a little bit, but he's going to be able to get quick recovery and try and just stay back in that 1st place spot.
And I believe he actually made a connection against another player. I'm assuming is going to be Kai Red. So that connection is going to be huge for him to be able to hold on to his lead, but it's not a very large one. And we're going to find out whether or not he'll keep it through the end of this lap and leading into the end of victory lane here in lap number 3. But right now he only has a coin. He's going to use it to grab a double item box. Likely going to get the same combo he's going to get in 1st place. It's likely the same thing you're going to find all the time. You'll be lucky. You might get a red shell in 1st place, but that's about a 5% chance. And Kyrat going to be utilizing that backward shell to hit that 3rd place player, and now trying to extend their leads, trying to keep them fighting with Marshall. Let's see who's going to edge it out in lap number 3.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Kyrat didn't get an item box there. That red shell looks like it might have been taken away from the actual map, so that is huge for Kyrat because that would have dropped him down drastically. That bomb is going to connect though from Marshall, throwing that behind him. He doesn't get the best of item set here, currently holding on to 1st, and there's a blue shell on the way for Marshall. So he's going to have to try and figure out where he needs to slow down here in order to actually take this blue shell and still get a solid boost off of this, because he's going to get this jump boost, but right here it's going to be very, very dangerous for him as this blue shell is going to come in to connect with him. He luckily seems like he'll be able to fully finish this drop, but that is dangerous, and he still gets a horn, so actually doesn't even have to worry about the blue shell incoming, and the red shell is going to come in, can connect, but he still takes that 1st place away.
That was absolutely crucifying. Oh, he put the backwards camera in, and all you see is just the blue shell coming at him at the last second, and we're just looking at him, and I'm screaming in the back of my mind. I'm having just envisioning nightmares of Monopoly and Mario Party and all of these other crazy games that break friendships, relationships, and marriages, and you just see the blue shell. It is intimidating. But he ends up getting the sound box, and then a red shell comes out of nowhere and then slaps him over the finish line to get the 1st. What an amazing play by Marshall. That was just gut-wrenching, to say the least.
Yeah, obviously you saw Marshall hold on to his heart there. He was very terrified of that last part of the race. Luckily enough, was still able to finish there in 1st place, so nicely done for him to actually still take that 1st place home away, and it's going to get him 36 points overall. So this top 4 is pretty much guaranteed to probably go through here. But there's 2 more groups to go through, and it seems like you said, I believe 16 points was currently the bottom part of this group, or part of the semifinals, sorry. And that is going to be interesting because we see Knives with 20, so she's going to be able to at least hopefully have a chance in the semifinals. But 2 more groups, we'll see how that goes. 44 points, 36 points, 35, and 33 from the top 4 is going to take 4 of those players out of that semifinals, though. And that is going to obviously make that point threshold even higher.
That's going to be extremely large. Speaking of large, let's take a look at all the amazing large replays that happened here for this group in the preliminaries. Some of the most amazing racing, most active that we had all night. Items really played a significant factor in how they played tonight. I got to say, every single player was just making very minor mistakes. You do see Jay Keezy unfortunately falling off the map. Last place for life getting hit by items with no defensive items. Last place for life barely edging it out, by the way, was able to recover. And then you saw that Kyrat was having a couple small issues as well. Everybody just making these minor mistakes that are adding up over time.
Yeah, and you saw Marshall falling off there, just really weird mistakes coming out from a lot of these players, just random falling off the map and random, miscalculations as they go through it. Obviously, the blue shell, this is, I believe, the only game where the blue shell actually travels on the floor instead of straight up in the air. So the blue shell on the floor actually makes it to where it actually interacts with other players and actually can hit them as well as the first place player. So that's an interesting thing I actually really like about the blue shell, because it helps a lot overall. Obviously, it's going to hit the first place player, but it could take out someone in front of you as well.
Absolutely. Well, the only one that was in front was Kyrette with 44 points, and then Marshall being with 36, and that is going to be your leaderboard here on the side of the screen. Got to say, Knives really impressed us with those 20 points. And by the way, just got to give a shout out to Twilight, because I know Twilight had a fan base, did manage to get 8 points. Amazing racing by Twilight, and you do hear the rounds of applause for her. You know she's going to be heading over to the bar to grab some of the great food and beverages that we have here inside the HyperX Arena. I got to say, I would love to join in on that 100%.
Same. I would definitely like to as well. But the players are getting ready behind us.